Hi, everybody. I finally got the microphone fixed. This is good. Okay, I finally got it working. I'm so happy. This has been so hard to get these videos. I had to redo all these videos the past 2 days because the the microphone was actually taking my computer microphone, not my headset microphone. So that's why it sounds so bad. So I fixed it. This video is for the it was for, I think it was Miguel that put this up about user experience for musical concerts and how this impacts the translation industry, but actually all kinds of industries. It's not just translation. It's um, and kind of the experience. And so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that from an experience as a musician, and as a long time musician, and I've played a lot of concerts. So I want to kind of explain my background a little bit about it because people don't know. But and how this has actually influenced my career in actually in customer engagement and in user experience. And I've used this. It's very been important to do that. So yeah, I've been a musician since I was 15 years old, and I'm 55, so that's 40 years. Okay, and at 17, I made an album with some friends. Um, so that kind of explains how fast I had to learn. And I played in bands. I was when I was between 15 and 18. That when you're playing before 2,000 people, you don't screw it up. Let's say it that way. And we got chosen. So, and they chose some of us, and if you didn't sing well enough, you didn't get chosen. So, kind of, big events at the time for being that young. Um, yeah, it wasn't the voice at the time, but it was kind of you had to, and I actually didn't get accepted for something. So, it's kind of that's fun auditions and stuff. But so, and I played in a lot of bands back early on, and then and through college, and I did a lot. I played in a lot of stuff. My best friend and I, you could see us on my motorcycle with the guitar between us when we go places. So yeah, we couldn't put two guitars on the motorcycle with two of us. So that was kind of bungee cords. With bungee cords, I had my guitar with my motorcycle had a backrest, and I had a bungee cord I put around it to hold the guitar in place. So yeah, um, and I've done a lot of just played regularly. I think one guitar I had 5,000 hours on the guitar when after 28 years of it. So just kind of that much playing on it. Um, and I've been involved in in like SAP France. We get an employees association, so were kind of asked about 10 years ago to try to start doing concerts for the employees. Just kind of all we had a bunch of acquisitions, so we just want to make all that, and so we had got all the acquisitions, people that knew how to be were musicians. We got us going, and so we've had bands here in the SAP Paris office for 10 years. That was the president of the employee association, the non-sports associations, all cultural activities. So I started up all the music stuff. Started up all the music stuff with a colleague. We started giving guitar lessons, and it turned into guitar lessons, piano lessons, chorale. Actually, Susie, you actually did the chorale before. But and then it turned into bands, and we set up a music room. We actually got a music studio there, and we equipped that thing, and we we actually got one of my local music shops like funded him his first year, like 10 grand of stuff. Um, and we have a bunch of bands that we do concerts for our fellow colleagues. Yeah, end of your band, end of your concerts, 40, 50, it's the 50th year anniversary of SCP now. It's the 40th year. 10 years ago, we did concerts for that kind of stuff. And before COVID, basically, it was all COVID. Just always doing concerts 3, 4, 5 times a year, and getting the funding for it from the French Works Council, and all that, and from the people, the employees, and all that. So it's kind of set it up, and we did a lot of. I'm going to say this is semi-pro, and it's more than semi-pro. This is, in fact, we got a video about being interviewed by SP Global News about it, Global Employee News about what we did, and giving examples and all that. Um, so there's lots of examples of that, and played in a lot of those bands, and some bands are pretty intense. The salesperson you can tell the salespeople versus the R&D people. The salespeople will you got to do it fast, and if you don't come prepared, they just wipe you out. So, so, um, but the R&D people will like work on a intro like for 3 or 4 rehearsals just for an 8. the part intro just for those 8 measures. So you can kind of tell the difference, and it's kind of fun. It's really fun. But it's the whole experience of that was the whole goal of all those concerts was to get people out on the floor and dancing. Okay, and that was the whole goal. And the whole experience of doing during well, it kind of depends on the kind of concert it was. Okay, not concerts I was doing when I was a teenager, but the ones I've been doing with SCP, it's just get them out. It's an end of year party. It's a party kind of thing, and so you got want people to get in and dance. That's the whole goal, for them to dance for just it's having fun, just party kind of thing, party atmosphere, and and so a lot of that, and I've done a lot of for like local music store, we'd do a lot of concerts together and do good birthday parties and pool parties and inauguration of the new pool party and kind of stuff. Again, user experience. It's always trying to give it and Bastille Day, which is basically the French the equivalent of the 4th of July in the U.S. It's the 14th of July, and so it's called Bastille Day. And so it's like, way to celebrate that. So the town halls all want to have a concert and that kind of stuff. So go do that. And, the mayor and all that kind of stuff. I'm just used to doing this in like Shining Wine and Cheese Expo of the year, and you do concerts for that, that kind of stuff. I'm just used to doing a lot of those things, which is always trying to please the customer, please the audience. And and a lot of times it's not about what you want to do; it's what you want the others to do. And actually, having played in so many of these bands, one of the things that my repertoire of songs are not the ones that necessarily the ones I grew up with and stuff are not necessarily the ones that others would that would sell really well. So what I just let all the others, the band members, say, hey, you suggest all the songs. And they were such as all the 1970s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s songs, and that's the stuff that sells. That's for the people of our age that will pay to go to have birthday parties and stuff. You know what I mean? So that really worked out well, and I learned a lot about that. Learned a lot about it. I was able to pick it up really quickly, and that helped understand user engagement, customer engagement, user focus, all that. Which I already was as a salesperson. I've been a salesperson, so I was just building upon it with the whole music kind of thing. In all the videos I do about music and stuff, it's always focusing on what the users need to know about musical instruments and all that, and what they want for a review. And then playing in restaurants. I actually played in restaurants on top of and after kind of doing a lot of the SCP band stuff because that's a lot of work. You had to get together all the time and stuff. So I do one little things in a local restaurant, nice dining restaurant, where the experience is not to come to a concert. It's to have a nice meal, a sit down meal, a nice menu with some nice wine, that kind of stuff. And I did that for several years. For 3, 4, 5 years. My son is a cook, so we exchanged cooking classes for doing the music, live music. And that was just a good, fun thing. I did it for fun. For that, let my son get some cooking classes and stuff, and he's a cook now. So, but it really helped. That was a really good experience for musically wise to understand. The people don't come to the restaurant to have a concert. Okay, now it wasn't a bar; it was a restaurant. Okay, a nice sit-down restaurant. You can actually see it up on my Jeff Allen Musician. I have a Jeff Allen Musician Facebook page, and it's all there. You can see it. So, and it got to a point where, I would want to play live music off in the corner. I bring in like 5 or 6 guitars, all different colors, okay? And I bring in all these different guitars, and I bring in digital piano, an electronic piano, and I have a microphone. And the whole goal was to have the sound go through the mic and hopefully through electronically through the guitars or the piano to a emitter that sent it to another thing that would go through the sound system, but we turn the thing down to 1. It would just turn it way down, way down, to the point where you could hear come out of the speakers. This little, not a big room. I'm not talking very big, okay? They're not a big hall. This isn't the concert halls like I'm playing in the SCP bands. The SCP band stuff, it's like big places, like the famous concert places like Under the Arc of Triumph and Boat on the Seine River that's like made for concerts. That's the kind of stuff we're placing with the SCP stuff. But this was nice sit down restaurant. You want it live come through, but you want the sound to be so low that I have to be hearing it through the speakers off in the corners of the room. And I think make what I'm singing was not, it was same level acoustically. Okay, and when I say acoustic, I mean the voice and the sound and the instrument and the, it's acoustically the same levels of stuff coming out of the speakers. So it's just a stereo sound, but really low. And and the restaurant loved that because it was just live, but radio music kind of level. It's just like you don't want people can talk. They want to talk. They want to have a meal. And so I'd be just always trying to adjust to adjust the level. I could see by the faces of the people. I'd be watching them to see if they were. You can see if they're having difficulty communicating because you can hear them kind of leaning over to hear each other. That leaning over to hear each other, I'm too loud, right? So I got to lower it down a little bit. And so I'm constantly doing this. I'd be playing 3, 4, 5 hours non-stop because I'm switching between instruments. Guitar makes your fingers hurt, so you switch between piano, guitar, singing. Sometimes it's just instrumental. Sometimes add a voice. Sometimes I lower my voice and just kind of do it. I got some really nice meals at the end of the evening on those types of things. But it was a very good experience of really understanding what customers and users want. Because, and then they'd ask for, hey, can you do this song? Now I'd have a playlist. I have my own playlist, and it was all the SCP, the things I was doing with SCP. So I'm just reusing the stuff. I had it all on a laptop with a pedal tuner. I had a page tuner with a pedal, so it's just easy to do. And I was just reusing the same songs, but I was doing them slightly different as a single, artist rather than as a band. And I got to do my versions of it. As a single player, and had a lot of fun doing it, and really get to really work on. This was like my practice. Sometimes I'm a practice sessions to do it for the band for SAP. I mean, it was just always growing and learning and doing it and making different versions of it and making some, and was always focused on the users, okay, and the people in the room, and trying to adjust that. And sometimes you'd be inside a room, sometimes you'd be outside on the patio. And then you get a little more flexibility, but not always, because outside you might have a brick wall, which we'd be rebounding the sound off to the apartments off in the corner. They'd start calling if it got too loud, they would start calling the restaurant saying, hey, calm down. So I had to kind of play with that. And so I want to make this experience still kind of this thing. So there's there's some videos up on my YouTube channel if you want to see them, where I'm actually playing at the restaurant, and you can see me playing at the restaurant and the kind of level I'm playing. You can kind of feel it. You can see how low it is. Some of the practice sessions, so I wasn't playing really, really loud, but then in a couple of them, you can actually see where I'm actually I'm actually playing with people in the room, and you can hear the people eating with the forks and knives and stuff. You can hear the clinking of the cutlery. And you can tell that I'm keeping my voice really low, and you can see I'm trying to really balance that. And that was in the smaller one. They got in a little bit bigger restaurant when they moved, and that was a little bit easier to do. We could actually handle a little of the sound, but you can kind of see what I'm doing, and people would come in. Literally, I'm not saying, and I'm explaining all this to kind of get a feeling of how this really does matter. And it really does to understand the user experience and the customer engagement. It's super important. What I would do is, I would constantly be adjusting and all that, and they'd come in and they'd see these 5 or 6 guitars and like freak out, just like whoa. And the server, who's the main the owner, the co-owners who are serving. They would kind of take the young servers. They didn't know what to say, so the owners would say, hey, it's okay, it's live music, but it's going to be really. People want to be off in the corner, kind of be as far away from you as they could. Those people that get the biggest tips. Because they just said at the end, how did you do this? We were expecting to blow us away, and you blew us away, but in a different way because it was so good. I think one person gave me a €20 tip one time. I'm not kidding, €20. That's, I've never seen that before. But hey, this person said they got a lot of restaurants and a lot of places and done a lot of concerts in Paris. They said this is the best one because it's just like it was toned down. It was just really, really, really nice. It's just, um, but we had a cowboy hat and just yeah, we just the owner would come out and from the kitchen, and he'd come out and say, we just want to introduce Jeff this evening. At the end of the evening, I'd be playing for 2, 3, 4 hours. We come at the right time. Everybody's having their coffee and stuff, and just say, we just want to. We kind of made this. We actually we turned it into a more of a additional customer engagement, an additional user experience by saying he would come out and kind of make a joke, and he'd say, Jeff's here. We have some evening here, live music. This is really provide something more for you, and we got a cowboy hat over here, and if you can contribute to paying for his guitar strings and his gas, that would be good. And believe me, people did it. They did. And then I would actually add to that, on top of the music stuff, I would actually explain what I was doing. I'd take a few minutes to explain um, that they had seen these different colors of guitars, right? Um, and I explained that the different colors of the guitars were like the different ingredients of their meal, because some of them had different ingredients in the different type of meals that they had asked for, and some people like spicy, and some people like different flavors of different sauces and stuff. And I said, hey, it's kind of like these guitars. These guitars all have different tones, tonal sounds. And I explain this. I say, for that Michael Jackson song I did, it was a tenor, kind of high level song. So I got to have a blonde guitar to play that. My blonde guitar, my girl here that's the tenor sound. That's the kick me in the lower eye. It didn't make out a tenor high. Okay, and so I explain that, and I'd say, hey, you can see that song? I'd explain it. I'd show them what the songs I had played before. And I said, hey, and here's my brunette guitar, all brown, just front and back, everything's all brown. I said, that's for John Denver kind of stuff. You want deep sound and all that, or Sweet Home Alabama. You got to have that song. Um, and I just play it, and I just explain. And so these are different tones and different things. And I say, and then for my cherry guitar, that's my redhead. So- and I kind of make the jokes out of this. And and it they liked it. And then I say, and on top of it, you see, I have all these guitar picks sitting here on the piano. I got a whole assortment of them, and they actually changed the sound of the guitar too. And this is like people were loving this. They were just like a 5 minute intro to guitar sounds, and I'm comparing it with the food they're eating and the meals that they're having, and their experience of the dining experience, the actual eating and consuming that food. And I'm explaining this in an analogy with that. And believe me, that brought in so many tips. It just because it was helping them understand the sounds and the why it was. And so all this kind of comes into play when you're doing a concert, when you're doing a gig, or what do you want to call these things? Because sometimes it's not a concert. Sometimes it's a dining experience. It's a music, background music. Um, and all this does, the musicians do kind of figure out what is going to be for their, if you, and the restaurant said they had tried out other people. Sometimes we did concerts. We'd like on, there is the day of the year, which is like it's called the International Music Festival Day of the Year in France. It's always, I can't remember which day it is. I can't remember the day. I can't remember. 21st of June, I think it is. And that day, everybody's out in the streets doing concerts everywhere. It's just what they do. So there we'd bring in the heavy equipment, and yeah, we'd tune up that one, and we could do it. The apartments around, they accept it for that evening, right? And then then I can really get digging some stuff, and I don't have to keep my voice low, and all that. I can get it out. I got a few video. I do have a few videos on my YouTube channel that show this. You can see the music festival day compared to the other ones. So they're all there. And this is how musicians do it. Like you said, they're really trying to adjust to what is the experience of the musical event for the audience, of whatever the audience is there for, the reason why they're there. And like birthday parties, I can tell you some of the birthday parties, problem is you gotta keep away from the people because they're just like you don't want to get too close because they're gonna be spilling beer on you. Okay, you don't want them touching your instruments. Okay, because they're not in not in the state of affairs to let them touch it, and they want to touch it. No, no, you got to put a red tape around it. You don't get anywhere near my instruments. You bring some expensive instruments, you don't want them touching them. Um, but all this kind of does play into it does, and it really is important to that kind of thing is I use this a lot in my own doing things for customers and for my job because it you got to know what the customers want and figure it out and you ask them what they want. And so same thing in music, you ask them what they want. You provide something and then you ask them if they want to modify it, and sometimes they say, hey, they want me to do such a song, so I can't do that one, so or I'd have to practice it because you don't want me to you don't want me to play it right now in the situation because I'll play it so badly that you won't give me a tip compared to what I've been playing before. So can you think you understand that? Hey, they say okay, okay, no problem. Next time, can I put on a playlist for the next time? You get him going. You get him going, um, and that really does help. It really is a key thing, and so I want to emphasize what you said about that, Paul, the music thing. It really is true, and it really does help us recenter the focus on what the customers want. Sometimes you have to say no. You have to say no. There are times I say no, I can't play that song, or it's not my playlist, or it's not my repertoire. Sorry, and I don't want to give you a bad experience. I just say that. Um, I want to give you the best experience I can give you. So, and people accept it. They'll accept it. They will say, "Oh, you don't know that song." Oh, or sometimes you, if a big enough band, someone else can kind of get it going. And say, and I watch them playing. If I can see what they're playing, another colleague's going to play, or a colleague, then I'll go ahead and start playing it too. But if I don't know the song, I'm not going to do it. So if I can play along, if I can see what they're doing, yeah, piano or guitar, I can kind of follow along, and they do it. So it kind of depends. But all this comes into play, and it really is true. And we can benefit from these types of artistic events. And music is one that really, like you said, the musician is really trying to figure out and like I said, you're watching the people, you're watching how they're reacting to it. And the restaurant thing's different than the actual concert because concert's different. But like I said, in the restaurant setting, you can see the people if they're leaning over and they're partying here. You can tell that level, the decibel levels, kind of have to play with it. Um, so yeah, just want to say that you're totally right on, and I confirm that. And my experience of doing this many years, and not now. COVID is just not the time to do it. Um, have to be kind of do it differently. But and doing it on Zoom and all that kind of stuff is kind of with multiple people. It's just like no go. Tried it. I've tried this. It's not all these different online systems, online visual conference thing. They're not just not made for this. They're just not made because you got noise canceling stuff. It's not possible to do it. So it's really hard to do. And there are some things of it. I don't want to go into that. Of their software can do it, but it's really tough to get it all aligned. You have to have Ethernet cable all kind of on all the same level, and yeah, you got this. It's just really tough to do. But if you want to have the best experience and you want to give your audience the best experience, it's true. So, and we can take this to other fields, and it can be not just it could be any field. We can learn from this and apply it to our working with our customers. I did it in telecom software, training those users. There have been times doing it for whatever other types of software and services, and explaining and selling it to them, and deploying it and going out and working with them and training them on it and all that, and all this comes into play. It really does. And the music stuff has helped make it more yeah, just to be able to relate with the people. And you'll notice that a lot of my language technology talks I give, I have guitars in there, and I'm giving examples of the guitars and stuff, or phones, or mobile phones, or cameras, or objects, or watches and stuff. But I use guitars as an example to be able to help people identify because of the sounds. And it's a thing that everybody can identify with. To a certain point. It's music. Music is just something that people can identify with. So, yeah, totally agree. And hope this helped give a kind of another level of understanding from a musician and from someone that's using this and has done it so much that it just is part of it's part of the experience. It's experience for the person doing it as well as for the audience. It's a very reciprocal, mutual experience. Every time's different. But you try to repeat the same thing. If you see it works well, you want to repeat it that time, and then kind of let it flow. With that, the audience, every audience is different. Some people come and say, "Hey, can I play guitar?" You adjust, or "Hey, can you do the song?" or whatever, or "Can you play that again? You can explain that again." Whatever, it's just there. It's always you do what the customer wants as much as you can. So hope that helps and gives more of an explanation. Thanks for listening.